Okay, so hi, I'm Greg and this is Mark.
Hi!
Today's episode is sponsored by Teespring. The Deco Stop t-shirt is available on Teespring. Thank you to all who are following us on Spotify. It seems to be our strongest platform outside of YouTube. And thank you to everyone who's been watching the Daily Scuba News. The show's more popular than it's ever been, and it's now our third biggest show on the channel.
Whoop whoop!
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Right, so bang into news.
Yeah, straight into the news. So first up, we've got Fourth Element tech shorts. So Fourth Element at the end of last year announced that they were bringing out their very own tech shorts, which are basically just neoprene shorts that you wear either over your wetsuit or over your board shorts. And they give you thigh pockets.
Yeah, nice big thigh pockets, somewhere to keep your sandwiches.
Yeah, they have promised us a sample, which still hasn't come across my desk as of yet. But any day now, they're going to start arriving. I think they brought a few, or most of their samples over to the boot show, which is going on sort of right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, they look good. They're a bit more minimalist compared to the Apex Tech shorts, which are the current top golden child as far as tech shorts. But yeah, they're definitely worth keeping an eye on. So yeah, any day now they are going to arrive.
Mark will be wearing those for next week.
Promises.
Yeah.
Empty promises.
So the Conception Fire update.
Yeah. So you must have heard about the fire on board the Conception. A lot of people died on that, and it's all of the legal stuff is still ongoing. I think the newest thing is that sort of 4 more family members of people who were lost sort of on the boat have created or started a new court case against the company, and it's all just getting very. It's not a good thing, but kind of what it is good for is that it's getting everyone else who owns liveaboards to just kind of think, maybe I need to double check I'm up to standards, and even if you are, maybe it's worth going a little bit above the standards just to make it as safe as possible.
Definitely.
But one thing that it does really highlight is that charging electronic devices nowadays on a dive boat is a very dangerous thing, and you should never really do it if you're not there. The last liveaboard that I went on, it was actually before this fire, and it was a while ago, and before any of this. And part of the initial briefing was only plug one thing in at a time. If you're not literally in the room with it, looking at it, then unplug it. It's just not worth it. Moving on from that terrible news, we have more terrible news, unfortunately. Sorry, guys. So the death of Wayne Hassan. So Wayne was a huge character in the diving scene. He sort of started off in the US Marines, and where he used to teach a whole bunch of them, 500 other Marines, how to scuba dive. And then on from that, he actually created the Aggressor Fleet, which if you've been in the Red Sea or sort of anywhere sort of around there, loads of Aggressor boats and sort of motor yachts out there. So sort of really big, and he sadly passed away from cancer recently. So lots of people have been sort of mentioning him and sort of talking about him on social media.
Tyre reef being cleaned up.
So we were actually discussing this morning. There's actually a couple. The one that's actually in the script is in Guam, but you said there was another one in the States. They basically late 60s. They thought, we've got all of these old car tyres. What are we going to do with them? Oh, we don't have many fish stocks left. Let's try and create some artificial reefs out of these old car tyres. And funny enough, it didn't work.
Didn't work well?
No, not particularly. But now, of course, the sort of local governments and all that kind of stuff are basically saying, right, it's been long enough. We put it there in 1969. Maybe we should, get them out. And they reckon it's going to cost them $250,000 to lift up all these tyres. And it's going to take them about 3 years whilst they sort of transpose any coral that has manage to grow on it,
yeah.
they're going to very delicately take that off and then sort of transplant that somewhere else. But then the tyres, they're going to they're going to chop them up, ship them to Asia, and they're going to
Dump them there.
No, well, kind of. They're going to burn it to make concrete or like asphalt or something.
Okay.
You're like, okay.
Yeah.
I suppose it's better than in this nice lagoon. But
Yeah, they did it in America. In the 70s, they put 1 to 2 million tyres in, and they've now got 700,000 up, but they're still working.
They're working on it.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Okay, so our last bit of bad news.
Yeah, it's very
it's not
dark.
been a good week, has
yeah,
it?
well done, Shaun.
Yeah.
Try and get some happy news for next week, please.
So we've unfortunately we've had a diver die on the Gozo dive.
Yeah. So this was Christine Gauchi, and I don't think they know exactly what's happened as of filming. Nothing suspicious, but they're just kind of looking into it. So again, just be careful, look after yourself, make sure that you got any health problems checked out before you go scuba diving, because it's just not worth it.
Poor girl.
Yeah, so the topic of this week's show is going to be Snuba.
Snuba.
Or more accurate, because Snuba is a bit like Hoover. It's kind of everyone kind of describes a vacuum cleaner as a Hoover, but Hoover's actually a brand name. Snuba is a brand name of a kind of hooker style sort of scuba diving kind of setup, and it's kind of that halfway between. The way the creators describe it, or sort of wanted to describe it as such, was it's kind of a mix between snorkeling and scuba diving. And what it basically is that you have a compressor or a tank on the surface, a really long hose, and that attaches to you to a mouthpiece, and that's about it. And this just freaks me out the more I kind of look into it, because the instructor in me has always been taught to think, what if? What's the worst thing that could possibly happen so that you can prevent that from happening?
Yeah.
The tech diver in me is looking for failure points, and this has so many, it freaks me out. But it's super popular.
Yeah, it is really popular.
I do get the concept, and I do get the fact that it is a convenient thing for a certain grade of diver. So I wouldn't mind sort of putting yourself or myself on sort of Snuba or a kind of hooker style setup, because I know that we're trained to a certain level. We've gone through a certain kind of aspect of almost drown proofing ourselves, because we've spent so much time in the water. We're used to airway control and procedures of, if something happens, how to get out of it. But the basics of it is that you normally get like a 6 meter long hose, which is quite good because it does limit your depth. But even at 6 meters, you can still get a decompression illness.
You're still breathing compressed air, aren't you?
Still breathing compressed air. So if you hold your breath, which is quite natural, and then ascend, you're going to hurt yourself. There's just so many worrying factors for me.
That first 5 meters, that's where all your that's where you really got to equalise.
That's the greatest pressure difference.
Yeah. And I was reading what they've said, and it's for people that go snorkeling and really want to have a touch of the really sort of what it's like down there, and I can get that, and that's a really nice sort of way to introduce people, and I can get it. But there are so many failure points, there are so many things that could possibly happen. Putting my 10-year-old nephew with a weight belt and throwing him in and just go, see ya. 6
meters down, off you go.
Bye.
Because I don't know about all systems, but from the ones that I was looking at online, you can just kind of pick them up off Amazon or whatever. For granted, they're a few grand because it's a compressor and all that, but it's just like off you go, just buy it, kind of figure it out. Because I don't know about you, but I used to get this asked a lot, and it's people sort of calling up and they ask for. I want a really long hose and a cylinder and one of the breathy things. to go to the scuba diving, and normally my first question is, I take it you own a boat, and yeah, they're like, oh, how did you know? It's like, well, because I imagine you want something so that you can dive under to unfoul a prop because you've run over a rope or something. But again, that just kind of terrifies me, and I'd never recommend it because it's you get that kind of confidence in, oh, everything's fine, I've got a cylinder up there, I can breathe underwater. But if you get tangled and you're stuck down there,
say like with another person who's also on a big line,
then it just I'd feel too guilty for have recommended this and said, go do it, it'll be fine. No.
I can get it because it's kind of it's like it's kind of trying it out and stuff, but there's no real training involved.
No.
There's a basic sort of thing. Do you know the requirement?
Oh, I dread to think. I know 8 years old
That
is the minimum.
requirement. You have to be 8 years old and medically able to sign the form.
Yeah. Right.
and with the raft, it does say don't use it if there are waves, it's windy,
any current,
if there's a breeze, if there are boats nearby.
Yeah, because I've towed SMBs sort of throughout an entire dive, and it sucks because even with that tiny little thread, like 2-3 mil thread, a lot of drag, and trying to tug this thing against, and that's not even providing my air supply. And I don't know if they come with pressure gauges, so how do you know when you're running low on gas? If it's like an electric or a petrol generator, how do you know when that's just going to run out of fuel? No,
I'd hope they do something about removing a weight belt if you've got a problem. I don't know.
Yeah, but then there needs to be enough training to say, don't hold your breath. Exhale on the way back up. And they're saying how it's so much easier just to climb back up the rope. It's like, yeah, but you're going to be climbing up quite fast. And they're saying that, it's scuba equipment is really heavy. You're like, yeah, but now you've got a raft with a tank on it that you're dragging into the water. It's no. I do get the pros, but it just kind of terrifies me.
So the long and short of it is we love it. We really recommend it, and we can't wait to use it. But they are really popular. Really popular.
Yeah, they are all over the place.
Yeah, like places like Hawaii and stuff, they're huge.
Yeah. It's just I always go back to this one image where it's like an underwater scene, and there's like 6 people all on hoses, and then they've got the instructor in the front who's on scuba, obviously, and I just think it's like, if something goes wrong with one of them, you've got to swim all the way over there to get to them, and then you're sorting them out. If something else happens with someone else, it's just
and no one knows the hand signals.
No.
Like that.
Okay, everyone go up. But no, it's just too much entanglements and just too many failure points for me. Especially for who it's aimed at. That's entry level.
Aimed for people that don't really sort of.
Yeah. And the one thing that's kind of ended the Wikipedia article on it was there's like high reports of inadequate training at the beginning, and it's just.
We could see how something like that probably would not be. You could kind of fall through the cracks if it's in Magaluf.
That seems like fun. And if you don't know any different, you've never been in the water before, you've done some snorkeling, but you're like, this must be the way it happens. No, it just worries me.
Yes.
If you know what you're doing, I'd be happy like cleaning a swimming pool or something on it. Because you don't have your BCD and whatnot. It's good because you, if you're not wearing a wetsuit or whatever, then your buoyancy is kind of perfect. Just put like 2 kilos of lead on to compensate for your lungs, and that's kind of it. You're nuclear buoyant. You feel quite free. And what if that comes out of your mouth? I know some of them, the regulator is kind of attached to kind of like a little harness, and then it's in your mouth.
Right.
But what? Yeah.
So many things.
Yeah, and if your mask like fills up with water and you No. For me personally, as an instructor and a tech diver, it just freaks me out.
Yeah, it does. It's scary. Very, very scary.
Okay.
Moving on.
Moving swiftly on. We're going to go into an advert. Now, what are the most important things that scuba divers love to do when they're not scuba diving? Well, of course, it's telling other people that they are in fact scuba divers. And the most common way to do this is with a cool t-shirt like the one that I'm wearing today. And guess what? Our very own Simply Scuba Teespring store features lots of t-shirts, stickers, hoodies, and even socks that will let everyone know that you are in fact a real bona fide scuba diver. To view our whole range, just head over to our Teespring store, teespring.com/stores/simplyscuba, all one word, or click on the link pinned in the comments if you're watching this on our YouTube channel.
That's really well done.
Well, thank you.
Cool. Okay, so this first question is from Robbie Murdering Minion.
Oh dear. he needs a hug.
Yeah. Okay, so is there a dive computer that will do 2 cylinders for a side mount dives?
Yeah, I presume he means like wireless air integration, because otherwise your computer doesn't really care what cylinders you have. But yeah, you can get some dive computers. You basically need to look for sort of how many transmitters it can connect to. So anything from like the Eon steel that connects up to like 10. If you're diving with 10 separate stages. But yeah, quite a few of them do 2. You'll probably have to do a bit of gas switching on your computer to tell it. I don't know if they automatically see the kind of gas drop and switch it. But yeah, enough of them do. It's not just connect to one computer, they do transmitter, sorry. They will connect to multiple, and then you can just switch between them. You just sort of allocate, okay, well this transmitter is tank 1, and then you swap between them during the dive. So yes, it does exist. Most people, especially side mounts, because your gauges are just like right there under your armpit, your gauges are just right there, so you just like look down and you're, there it is. Yeah. But
yeah, you do get people that wear 2 computers with 2 transmitters. I had one of them last week.
Yeah, you get that redundancy. Yeah, I'd rather have too much than not enough.
Yeah.
Next question is from Ghost Bear, which is one of the best names I've ever heard. This was on Deco Stop 2nd episode, and she/it. The Ghost Bear asks, air integrated versus standard octo. With more manufacturers pushing these out, I'd like to hear what your views are on these. It seems like the dive community is very split on them. So yeah, air integrated versus a standard octo. So standard octo, you have a second stage, an alternate octo. But an air integrated is where they basically blend your BCD inflator and your octo into a single thing, which is great because it's less hoses, it's less weight. So if you're traveling, you can literally have a first stage with 2 hoses coming out of it and a transmitter, and that's it. So it kind of looks very weird, but it's got everything that you need. Practically, if, say, you're having a problem underwater, I can donate my primary that I'm breathing from and then swap to my inflator as such so that I can breathe. Which is a good concept. That is the kind of primary donate. You know that that my primary that I've been breathing from the entire dive is working, so that when I pass it to you, you know that your first breath is going to work. Sure. Whereas your octo, maybe you checked it at the beginning of the dive, but all sorts of silt or whatever could have crawled inside of that. So so there is a benefit there. It is convenient because you know exactly where your alternate air source is, so I can just go swap straight into it. The downside is that when you're donating gas,
we're chatting about this, aren't we?
When you're donating gas, the likelihood is that you're going to be doing an ascent. And trying to ascend and control your buoyancy whilst your inflator is in your mouth is going to be complicated. and you've got now 3 buttons on it. One of them's a purge button for a regulator, one of them's an inflate, and one of them's a deflate. You've got to make sure that that's at the highest point so that you can purge. It'll take a lot of like retraining yourself just to sort of practice these kind of things.
Good chat with your buddy before you.
Really practice these kind of out of air drills. I'm always an advocate for long hose primary donate, so I dive with a 2.1 meter hose on my primary, so that I can give that to my buddy. He can swim away a certain distance if he needs to, and then my octo is in a necklace around my neck, so it's just straight there. And it's everyone's kind of trained to do that. Everyone kind of understands it. It works. There is an argument for having a second stage in your inflator as just another redundant backup, but they're okay. I don't think the entire industry is going to switch to that. But it's an acceptable alternative.
I suppose if you're dive master, or if you're DNT, or if you're instructor, it's probably better to have the octo, because that's what you're going to be teaching. You know, you don't want your student, you show them out all down, they watch all the videos, and then you turn up and they're like,
something different.
Yeah.
Well, that was the whole thing with like air trim and an i3. Instead of having a traditional inflator hose, you just have a little trigger switch on your hip, which I've dived and it's wonderful. I love it, but you can't use it as an instructor because you can't demonstrate. And so it's
swings around.
The concept's there, but I don't think it's going to be changing the entire industry anytime soon.
Okay, so this one's from Brandon Stewart. What's your opinion of the Oceanic Geo 4.0, other than what you said in the review video?
It's an alright dive computer. It's not groundbreaking from where it kind of sits. I mean, I love the design, the style of it. It's a smart sort of watch-sized dive computer. It's a bit bulky, kind of on your wrist.
A bit Casio.
Yeah, it reminds me of the old like Sunto D9, where yes, it's watch-sized, but it's like half an inch thick, so it's kind of chunky. It's just got a segment display. It doesn't even have dot matrix, which is kind of a downer for me. The main selling point is the dual algorithm, so you can pick between like pelagic DSAT and like a Z plus algorithm, so you can better match the dive group. So your dive computer isn't barking at you to ascend whilst everyone else is like, oh no, I've got 10 minutes of deco left, or NDL, sorry. It's fine. It sits in a sensible kind of points for sort of price points for a watch-sized dive computer.
Yeah, how much is it? It's for 300 and...
something like that. Last time I checked, the prices fluctuate, obviously. It's okay. I'd be happy diving with it, sort of recreationally. Are there better computers? Yes. Are there worse computers? Definitely. It's fine. It's an alright dive computer, but if you have the budget, then I'd probably go for
always
something
probably
else.
better to try and get as much money as you can into your computer, because as you get better and as you start to evolve, your computer's going to be there ready for you, as opposed to you get better and then you need to buy a new computer because your Gecko's just not doing it.
Buy cheap, buy twice.
Definitely.
Simon King on the Deco Stop second episode asks, what is your typical accessory loadout for UK diving? Is it worth taking a backup torch / mask, etc.? And then he asks another question, buying from a local dive store versus buying online. Okay, so starting off, what is your typical accessory loadout for UK diving? A hat. Most people ignore getting a hat. In between dives, keep your head warm. So have just a big, nice, like trapper hat or something to keep your head warm.
You lose 40% of your heat through your head.
It's nuts. You can keep your dry suit on, and you've got a nice undersuit and all that, but your head is just exposed. You're not going to keep your hood on because they're awful out of the water. So a decent hat, but actually productively scuba diving in the water. So I dive with a 2,000, maybe 2,500 lumen torch on a Goodman style handle on my hands. I've got a 1,000 lumen backup torch, so clipped off onto my harness with an X deep bolt snapshot. He hates the fact that I love bolt snaps. He doesn't understand a good bolt snap. I've got, I don't know, 2, maybe 3 Z cutters. If I'm looking for ghost gear, I've got my sort of Green River dive knife. DSMB, decent sized DSMB, something like 1-2 meter long DSMB. Don't tend to bring a lift bag unless I need it. I do carry a backup mask in my thigh pocket because something will happen. I think the one dive that I did, and I didn't bother to put my backup mask inside of it, someone broke a mast strap or something. A couple spare double enders, they're always useful. And then like a big chunky like 30-meter spool. That's about it.
Joy, you'd love tropical diving. It'd be like going naked.
Oh yeah. As soon as you go abroad, it's like, oh, I don't need all of this.
Just my rash.
Yeah. So yes, I bring a backup torch and a mask. And then buying from a local dive store versus buying online, they both have their merits. I mean, obviously from ourselves, Simply Scuba, we're one of the largest, if not the largest in the UK, especially sort of online dive store. And yeah, we sell a lot of stuff and it's very good, but you do need to support your local dive store as well. So basically, if you can't find it on our website, then yeah, just go to your local dive store. They'd be more than happy enough to sort of order it in, especially because that's where we struggle, because we're going 100 miles an hour with kind of what we stock, and trying to get something else in a kind of a small one-off spare part is kind of clunky for us. So it's almost easier and quicker for you just to go to your local dive centre, kind of help them out as well, and that way you get a nice rapport, because we'll never be able to sell air fills online. We don't train people how to scuba dive, so there are so many local dive centres going out of business and kind of disappearing. We need to keep that. So if you don't go to them anymore, then yeah, they're just going to disappear. So there's a very fine balancing act. So yes, kind of buy what you can sort of online. You can be quite sort of shopper savvy, but also be aware that even though everything is in your local language and local currency, it might not be in your country. So a lot of websites nowadays, they see your IP address and they'll go, oh, okay, I'll switch it from euros to pounds. And even though you hit buy now, it might be coming from Europe, it might be coming from somewhere else. So you end up kind of sat there waiting forever. It doesn't have a warranty in your country. So there's a lot of things that you need to be aware of when sort of buying from abroad. So yeah, do your research before just seeing the cheapest price and going, yes, buy now.
Definitely.
Double check to where it's coming from.
So this one's from Pequim 13. So this is about the Apex RK3 fins. It's product review. So are these available in a small size? Seems like they're only made from medium size upwards. Yeah, you're right. They only. We don't know why. They start from medium. Then they're large. Then they're super. Yeah.
They don't do extra large. They don't do small as of recording.
Super.
Yeah, I don't know why a few of the manufacturers do this. They kind of start at medium for some reason. But no, they're not currently. Yeah, they're not currently made in a small size. So the smallest that you'll find will be a medium.
So this one's from Tom Keach. Would you recommend, for a soon-to-be DMT and hopefully instructor, would recommend getting a normal jacket style or go for the backplate and wing system like the X-Deep Zeos?
Yeah, I mean, I'm biased because I will always recommend going for a backplate and wing style system. Because
I'm absolutely the other way.
I just love backplates and wings because they are fully customizable. They're exactly what you need, and you can relocate D-rings if you don't want 3 D-rings over each shoulders because it's excessive. You can just take them off. You can put them exactly where you want to, so that even if you can't see, the D-ring is exactly where you want it to. And yeah, they are bulletproof, and you can sort of replace it.
Yeah.
So I mean, Zeus is fine. That's a fairly generic sort of single wing with a back plate. It's got decent sort of padding on it, so even if you're diving somewhere nice and warm, just with a rash vest, it's not going to dig in. So yeah, but again, it's up to you.
Yeah.
I love back plates and wings, but
They are. You have got me into them, I'll be honest.
But just because you've put as a soon to be DMT and hopefully instructor, if you're going to be a DMT, you're going to be sitting on lots of instructors' courses. You're going to be learning lots of stuff while you're on the job. You're going to need to have a jacket with everything like the clients have got, so that when they're learning from the instructor, they can also look at you. You're going to be the backup person for that instructor, and you're going to be sort of going through all those drills that they go through. But yeah, if you're probably doing sort of a bit more advanced course, then yeah, sure, you can probably get away with.
Yeah, there's also the argument you are and you're setting an example for the next generation of scuba divers, and yeah, don't just get the cheap bargain bin kind of, oh yeah, that'll do, because then they'll kind of look at it and go, oh well, my instructor is just wearing a cheap £100 jacket, why should I invest in anything better? But
it'd definitely be a talking point. If I hadn't seen it before, I'd be like, what, Mark, what's all this?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
And then you get, yeah, definitely. Ha ha ha. Right, go.
Faddy on Apex XTX40 regulator set review asks, I'm new to scuba diving. Hi Faddy, how is the lever working in practice? For example, should it be on plus on the octo always? So he's talking about the Venturi lever. So on most second stages nowadays, you have a pre-dive lever, a Venturi lever, and what that does is it basically redirects the airflow on the inside of the second stage. So with most second stages, as you inhale, gas kind of rushes in through the hose, and then it's kind of directed so it goes straight into your mouth, because that's the end game, that's where it's meant to go. The downside is that because you've got this like rush of gas heading straight into your mouthpiece, it creates a tor or a vacuum on the inside of the second stage, which sucks in the diaphragm even more, which opens the valve even more, which basically creates a free flow. So what a Venturi lever does is it redirects the airflow so it doesn't rush straight into your mouth. It actually goes towards the front of the second stage, so it pushes the diaphragm away, so it closes the valve. The air then makes its way to your mouth, so it kind of creates a little bit of turbulence on the inside of the second stage, but most people aren't going to notice it, to be honest. So for your primary and for your primary, yeah, you can leave it set to like plus or like pre-dive throughout the entire dive, and you probably won't notice that much of a difference. Your octo, yeah, I'd always leave it on sort of pre-dive, because as you jump in, if your second stage is mouthpiece up, it's gonna think that you're taking a breath, so it's just going to free flow. If the purge button kind of slaps the surface of the water, that's going to sort of create a free flow. And a Venturi lever, when it's set to pre-dive mode or plus, then that will interrupt that free flow. So you will get a rush of gas, but that's it, it'll stop itself. And that's basically how a Venturi lever works.
Cool. Right, so Danius K. This was from the video 5 of our favourite dive computers. Kamara's Smart Export free dive the apnea logs on a dive chart, or is it only useless Mac dive timetables with run record per dive?
So we took a look at Mares's sort of desktop software, and it does create a kind of a graph. I presume that's what you're after, of your kind of dive profile. We can't definitively say yes, it definitely will, because I could only see examples of it on actual scuba dives, but I reckon it will.
Yeah, you have to buy the upgraded bit for it, don't you?
Yeah, you have to get all the sort of download cables and whatnot, but I reckon if we had more time to research, then yeah, I'd probably ask Mares.
Sure it does.
They're pretty good, but I reckon I'm like 80% sure it probably will. And that's it for your comments. Obviously, if you have any others, pop them down on our YouTube channel or anywhere on our YouTube channel. Any other videos, we'll pick them up and we'll answer them in next week's show. So, of course, we have to thank Teesprings for sponsoring today's episode. Head over to teesprings.com and search for our sort of Simply Scuba store. Follow the podcast on Spotify. That's where our sort of biggest following is at the moment. Rate us on iTunes, 5 stars, please. It really helps out the podcast because it just ranks better, so more people will hear it, basically. Pop any of your questions in the comments in YouTube. Don't forget to share the podcast with all of your diving friends to help spread the word. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for listening, and safe diving. Okay, so today's topic, we're talking about new gear for 2020. So it's usually new stuff is kind of announced at DEMA in October 2019. So they did release quite a few new interesting things. The big one of the show was the Hydroid